Welcome back. Joining us now is John Benyon, who has a son with special needs and was involved in the ABLE account legislation in Montana. He also is an attorney for the Montana Department of Justice. Welcome to our show, John.
Thank you.
Is an ABLE account a new type of account? I'd never heard of it before.
They are relatively new. It was something that was passed by Congress at the end of 2014. And when I learned about this new opportunity, I found out that states have to pass enabling legislation. And that was right before Montana's legislature was going to meet in 2015. So we knew we had to act pretty quickly to put something together.
Tell us how you did that. How were you involved in the legislation in Montana?
So I reviewed what were the requirements of the federal bill, and then I kind of looked for a model out there that we could use for the legislation in Montana. One of the models was the 529 tuition savings accounts. So we kind of patterned it after that, took some of the language from that, and then we had experts review it from the tax world, from the disability world, and we were able to put some language together.
Was getting it passed through the legislature difficult?
It's never easy to pass legislation, but I think once people understood what we were trying to accomplish, there was incredible bipartisan support for something like this. Ultimately, what it really ended up being difficult to find was a home for it, which agency was going to oversee it, because there was no appropriation made for it. So we wanted to make sure that the agency that was going to be responsible for it could take it on.
So which agency is responsible for this?
The Department of Public Health and Human Services provides some oversight, and then I sit on a oversight council that has 4 other people on it, some parents of people with disabilities, people involved in DPHHS, or from the Department of Administration, and we've helped implement the program.
How many people in our state are going to benefit from this legislation?
There could be thousands of people that could take advantage of this, and what we're trying to do is get the word out on it, because it's very important to be a new tool, something different that hasn't been there in the past that people can take advantage of. And what we're up against right now is just making sure that people are aware that it exists and how it can benefit either them or their families.
So switching to a more personal note, would you mind talking about your son and his disability and what that entails?
Sure. Our son Jack, he was a 23-week micro-preemie, so he was born about 4 months early. A lot of babies born that early just really struggle to survive. And then even when they do make it, there's a lot of odds stacked against them. So we knew that even if he was going to make it, that he would potentially struggle with some disabilities down the road. We didn't understand the full extent of those until he was probably 3 or 4. And we know now that he may not live independently. And so it was important for us to have a variety of tools, a variety of ways to make sure that he could have the best life possible. He's an incredibly happy kid. He loves school. He loves his classmates. And so we want to make sure that down the road he can continue to lead a happy life.
How old is Jack now?
Jack is 8 years old, almost 9. He's a 2nd grader in elementary school now. And like I said, he loves school, loves his classmates.
How will the funds from his ABLE account help him?
So it's something in addition to public assistance, if he ever requires public assistance. In the past, it's been a barrier to save your own money or to have people help you save money towards things that public assistance doesn't cover. Sometimes transportation costs, medical costs that aren't covered by Medicaid, education costs. So opening that door for people to save their own money or to have families save their own money without being penalized is really opening a lot of doors for people with disabilities.
Switching to the military, will this type of account benefit folks in the military in any way?
Absolutely. It can, depending on the federal requirements. So somebody must have their disability before the age of 26, and that's in federal law. So people should definitely check out the eligibility requirements and see if they fit within those requirements for an ABLE account.
talk about who can contribute to an ABLE account. Is that anyone can contribute?
Yes, anyone can contribute. There are caps overall in a year, and then caps overall that can be in an account. But there are also certain contributors that can take advantage of a tax deduction, a state tax deduction, and those are usually close family members.
So talk more about what the ABLE account will do for your son. So could you be a little more specific? And for example, are you using funds right now for your son?
Sure, that's a great question. Right now, we're not using the funds for anything. We're using it much like a college tuition savings program where we're putting the money away, investing it for a time where later if he does need something with transportation, with medical costs, education expenses, anything like that, then we're able to have some money set aside for him. But other people that may be employed, they are an adult, they're just trying to get to their job, they're trying to live a fruitful life, they may use it more like a checking account where money goes in, they're able to take it out and not invest. And the great thing about ABLE accounts is that there's a lot of options available for that, whether you want to invest it for down the road or use it more month to month.
So lots of flexibility related to the ABLE account.
Yes. So when Jack was 3 or 4, we went and visited with a law firm about setting up a special needs trust. And one of the things, it's kind of complicated to set those up. Yeah. ABLE accounts are very easy to set up. Anybody can go to the website and within a half hour set one up for themselves or a family member.
Thank you so much. We need to take a break, but coming up next, we'll continue our discussion with Heidi Gettle. Stay tuned.